Avsheni guys, and welcome back to the PASETA School YouTube channel. My name is Sue and today we'll be doing an update on my garden. Let's go. Okay, so this is my first patch where I have my tomatoes growing, and what I've done is I've just laid some leaves on as part of my mulching. I will be adding on a bit more leaves. And the reason I'm doing this is so that the leaves cover the top of my soil. That way when I water, I don't lose my water so quickly. My soil doesn't dry out as quickly. And also it will add as a compost as it naturally breaks down into the ground. It will also feed the plants again. Okay. And then if you look closer here in my tomato patch, I do have growing in between my tomatoes a castor bean plant. So this plant is actually where castor oil is made from. It is a toxic plant to humans and animals. So it is a plant that you need to be very careful around, and you need to know what you're doing with it. I didn't intentionally plant this one. I think I might have lost some of these seeds when I was initially trying to plant morogo in this patch, and then maybe some of the seeds just fell in. So I will be transferring my castor bean plants onto a different patch later on. Okay, and then another thing, for your mulching, you can also use leaves, you can use grass cuttings, and you can also use cardboard. You can just shred it up and just basically cover the top part of your soil. Like I said, I will be adding more as time goes on. I just need to collect more leaves and be able to do that. This is our second patch, and this is where we've got our spring onions. Well, not spring onions, but our onions growing, okay, which we planted from the scraps from the red onions. So this one here is the onion that has flowered, just made very gorgeous little flowers. I'm waiting for the petals to open up so that I can start collecting the seeds from here. So this is what happens when your onion bolts and is then out of season. If you check on this one as well, if you take a closer look, let me do it like that. Yep, I've got two more that will be going to flower, this little head here, and that one is going to flower as well. I've just put this one inside a plastic bottle like this. So it's a plastic bottle that I've cut at the bottom, and then I've just gently guided her inside like that to protect her, because one of my other onions did break off. So just to make sure that one is safe and that I am able to safely get seeds from her, I've just decided to protect her. And then this is my patch with peppers on it. So let's look for a happy one. Here are my peppers. They've come up really nicely. I'm happy with how they're looking. They're growing well. I've got one here, and then I've got smaller ones that are still only coming up now, because not everybody comes up at the same time. So I've got these which are slightly smaller. This will also be an advantage for me, because then I won't be harvesting all my peppers at the same time. So this should ensure that the slightly more mature trees should bear peppers for me slightly earlier than the smaller ones. And then here I've got more peppers sprouting up. I'll have to weed these out as they get bigger. I'm just waiting to see which ones will be stronger, and then I'll weed out all the ones that are either immature or a bit sickly or not as strong. I also do have some beetroot growing in between this little section here. The beetroot I did transfer from a different section, and I planted them in here. I don't think growing my peppers with beetroot will be an issue, because beetroot is a ground root, and peppers you harvest. They're a top plant, a top harvesting plant. So I think they should be able to grow together side by side. Okay, and on this side, the side is where I've got my mixed herbs growing. This has actually become my favorite section in my little vegetable garden, and the reason for that is that it actually really smells so good. I wish I could somehow paste the smell on the video so everybody can get it. So here I've got coriander, and then I have my dill growing, and then in here I have some parsley. So they're all doing great. They're all nice and fragrant and growing strong. Haven't spotted any pests. I did remove some of the weeds that were growing in here. I also have planted some marigold in here as well as a companion plant. Here's a weed that I missed. It is easier for you to pull out weeds when the ground is wet, because then you can get the entire weed out. You want to get the roots out when you're pulling out your weeds, so that they don't just continue growing from the point where you broke it off. And then on this patch, hold on one moment, got some hydidas flying. All right, and then on this patch we've got the cabbage. Let me just zoom out a bit there so we've got a clearer view. On this patch I have the cabbage growing. Okay, so the cabbage did get a lot of attention from the birds and other insects, so most of it did get nibbled up, but it fought a good fight and it did manage to survive. So I did also spread out my cabbage. I think if you look at previous videos, you'll see that I had my cabbage planted in rows, but I have now transplanted some of it, and I have pulled out some of the slightly more weaker plants, and I've left behind the ones that I think will survive. I still do slightly have more cabbage than what I need for this patch, but the idea behind that is, seeing as there are still birds around that are eating it, and I'm anticipating still losing some of it to pests and stuff. So as the cabbage gets bigger and stronger, I will pull out all the weaker seedlings in between. But so far I'm happy with it. The cabbage is looking great. It's looking very pretty. So outside of the holes from getting eaten by birds, my cabbage is very healthy. No aphids on it, which is great. So I'm hoping to keep it that way. I will be scattering just a bit more ash on it as a measure to make sure that we don't get attacked by aphids. Alright, and then if we go through to my spinach patch, which is over here, the spinach is doing great, guys. I want to get an angle that will show you. The spinach has come up. It is looking beautiful. I am super proud of myself. Let me get you a leaf. Look at that. That looks good. That looks good. I'm happy. My spinach also does have leaves with holes in it because of the birds, but most of it is looking very healthy. So I did also thin out my spinach. So if you just look in between here, I do have clear rows in between my spinach. That's a weed. Got her out. So I do have clear rows in between my spinach, just because you can see how the spinach grows, so that we've got some air that is able to circulate in between the spinach, and to keep it neat and to give it space to actually grow and be nice and big spinach. So I'm very happy with the spinach. I have started harvesting, and also The nice thing about spinach is that when you harvest, you will harvest from the outside leaves. Take the most outside leaves like that one. So you would pinch from there and you'd harvest like that around. And then what will happen is your spinach will then keep shooting out new leaves from this section. So you have a continuous supply of spinach. So spinach really is a great crop to grow. And I'm happy with how mine has turned out. Okay, and then on this patch here, this is my mixed masala patch. This is where I've done a lot of companion planting. My pumpkin or cucumber or whatever this is, she's doing great. I have started directing her to climb on top of the corn, so that's very easy. Basically, you literally just take the plant and roll it around the corn. Just be careful not to break it, so very gentle and just a guiding, and then the plant will get the point and carry on growing around the corn. So this side I'm also happy with, it's going well. The corn is looking great as well. It is about knee thigh high at this point, so that has worked out well. Over here I have some spinach that has gone rogue. I'll leave her there. She looks happy, everybody around her looks happy, so not a train smash. Just going back to this patch of spinach, I do have a pumpkin growing here as well that has gone rogue. So sometimes what will happen with seeds is that they will move around while you're watering them. The water will carry them to different sections. That does happen. My potatoes have also come up really well. They look stunning. This one is going into flower. So that looks really pretty. So that's why we want our pollinators, so that they are able to take the pollen from there and spread it out to all the other plants, so that your plant does fruit for you and give you nice, beautiful, healthy fruit and vegetables. This is my pomegranate bush, and remember, she was coming back to life when we started this series. She's now just about to go into bloom. Look at her flowers on her. There's some ants on her as well, but she's got these gorgeous little buds on her. Look there. So that's happening as well. I just want to go around so I can show you my tomatoes and beetroots that I grew in the container. Okay, so here in this section is where I am growing my beetroots. These are my beetroot plants. So they've come up really well as well. They look stunning. I'm happy with how they look. You can eat the beetroot leaves. You can make a spinach out of them. They're actually really delicious. I particularly enjoy beetroot spinach. So while you're growing your beets, you definitely can eat the leaves. And then as well, my beetroot is tightly packed in here. I don't know if that gives you a clear view, but it is tightly packed in here. So I am thinking of maybe removing just a few of them just to give them space. But outside of that, they are doing great, even though they are compact in here. And that is why I had thinned some of them from this batch into the spot with the peppers. But I think I might need to take out a little bit more. But because it is beetroot, and I think I might have left it a bit too late to do more thinning, I might need to lose the ones that I thin out now, because the root system might be slightly more established, and seeing as that's where the vegetable comes from, the root, transplanting it at this late stage is not always a successful thing, but I'll try it and we'll see how that goes. And then here is my pride and joy, my tomatoes. Look at how gorgeous these guys look. I cannot believe they've grown this much in such a short space of time. So I also did transplant some tomatoes in here to the patch with the tomatoes that I initially showed you guys. Um, and now I still have quite a lot of trees in here. But everyone is healthy. They're looking great. Um, what I am loving more about this patch is the fact that they are all growing up straight without needing further assistance. Like they don't need sticks or a trail. I think because they are in a bucket and they are supporting each other, because there is quite a lot of them in there, that's what's helping them to maintain the structure. So she'll be going into flower soon as well. So tomatoes are coming. Let me just show you the little tomato flowers. So I'm very happy with how my garden has come along, and I hope that everybody else is also busy planting in their gardens, testing out what crops they like, what they find easy to grow, and just watching the process and the time and how your plant grows, how your vegetable grows. So please don't forget to also plant your own food, also try out your own crops. You can plant in buckets, so you don't need a lot of space to start your garden. So do start, even if you start with a small crop like an onion, one pepper, one chili tree, whatever it is, just start. And if you have any tips for us in terms of what to do to help our crops grow better, please do let us know. And then also please don't forget to contribute your 50 Rand towards the PASETA 50 Rand campaign to build a school for the African child. Thank you so much for watching all our content. Please remember to share, like, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.